Hello everyone. Good morning students. Welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to learn the conditional syllogisms. What is a syllogisms? Syllogism is a Greek word derived from the Greek term syllogismus, which means arriving at a conclusion or a rough inference. It's a kind of logical argument or inductive reasoning to arrive at a conclusion based on two propositions asserted or assumed to be true. So syllogism is to arrive at a conclusion or infer conclusions. The syllogistic statements are the combination of general statements. It consists of a major premise, a specific statement, and a minor premise, and a conclusion is deducted based on the major premise and the minor specific statement, minor premise. Generally, syllogistic arguments usually represented in a three-line form. For example, knowing that all men are mortal is a major premise, and Socrates is a man, minor premise. Out of these premises, and we arrive at a conclusion, and we can vividly conclude that Socrates is also mortal. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is a mortal. Therefore Socrates is a mortal is a conclusion. And we arrive at the specific conclusion based on the two propositions. One is a major and another one is a minor propositions. Okay. And there were in the past two rival syllogistic theories existed. And the one was Aristotelian syllogism. The other one was a Stoic syllogism. The syllogism was at the core of historical deductive reasoning, whereby facts are determined by combining existing statements, which is almost a contrast to the inductive reasoning, whereby facts are determined by repeated observations. And the syllogistic statements, it is a form of a deductive reasoning, where we arrive at a specific conclusion by examining premises or ideas. For examples, all roses are flowers. This is a rose. I'm holding flower. The types of syllogism that contains three components is a categorical syllogism. Like all cars have wheels. I have a car. Therefore, my car has wheels is the conclusion. It's a type of categorical syllogism. Basically, the basic form of the conditional syllogism is if A is true, then B is also true. If A, then B. It appears through a major premise, a minor premise, and a conclusion. For example, you are sad. I am qualified to help people who are sad. So I can make you happy. You are sad is a major premise. I am qualified to help people who are sad is a minor premise. Out of these premises, we arrive at a conclusion that so that I can make you happy. Usually conditional syllogisms are with three sentences that are often only the major and the minor premises. The conclusion, the listeners infers the conclusion for themselves. Conditional syllogism is a syllogism that deals with a hypothetical argument. It contains an antecedent, if clause, and the consequent, then clause, that is alternatives. For example, if you do not study, you will not pass. is a if clause antecedent. Bill did not study is the consequent then clause. Then alternative, then Bill did not pass is the conclusion. There are certain rules to be followed on working out syllogistic questions. Rules on syllogism. Rule number 1, there must be exactly 3 unambiguous categorical terms. And rule number 2, middle term must be distributed at least once. And rule number 3, all terms distributed in the conclusion must be distributed in one of the premises. And rule number 4, 2 negative premises are not allowed. And rule number 5, a negative premise requires a negative conclusion, and a negative conclusion requires a negative premise. And rule number 6, if both premises are universal, the conclusion cannot be particular. So based on these rules, we are going to work out on how important syllogisms is. Syllogism is a common topics in almost all the competitive examinations. You will find questions on this topic in every competitive examinations. Also, this topic does not require any particular skill, so all can learn easily. Besides this, it is one of the scoring topics you will find in any competitive exams. And today's session in syllogisms, we are going to learn and talk about questions based on two premise arguments. Okay? I hope you all have understood what a syllogism is, what type of syllogisms can be expected in the competitive examinations. In the placement examinations also, the students can expect such type of syllogistic statement questions, and they should be well versed in working out these syllogistic questions to get their placements. The syllogism term denotes that form of reasoning whereby conclusions need to be drawn from two statements. It is asked under logical reasoning section of the exams and is undoubtedly a very important topic. Generally, questions asked on this topic are of easy to moderate level as far as the examinations concerned. Before moving on the examples, let us be thorough with, and here are some of the terminologies that you need to know before solving the questions. Proportions is a term used in the syllogistic statements. The proportion is also known as a premise, as we were talking about major and minor premise. It is a sentence which consists of a subject and predicate. So, and we used to have in all type of syllogistic statements two proportions. Then the subject, it is a term which is used to affirm or deny a fact. And prediction, it is a term which states something about the subject. There are usually two methods to be followed as far as syllogistic questions concerned. To solve the questions on syllogisms, and we can solve any questions on syllogism using two methods generally, and one is a Venn diagram and another one is a income expense method. We call it IE method. And syllogism, the type of sum, there are possibly the two types of sums can be expected. One can be a normal sum and another can be a possibility sum. And if a normal sum is asked, you can work out the normal sums on syllogisms using the income expense method. And I suggest this particular method can help the students to work out in a better manner, rather than following other methods like. And I hope you would find this method is much more easiest way of solving any questions on syllogisms. And first of all, you should take the students should take a look at the conclusion and decide what set of questions are asked. Okay, and there are 4 important words to remember: all, no, none, some, and some not. How do we identify the types of sum? Either it is asked sum, is a given sum in the examination, is either it is normal or a possibility sum. If proportions contains the words such as can be, being a chance of. If any proportions consist of these words, and they are said to be possibility sums. If you don't find these words, and they are the normal sums. As we discussed, normal sums can be worked out using the method, income expense method. Income expense method for normal sums in syllogisms. Generally, income must be greater than the expense and have a statement like, you should remember, in order to work out this income expense method, you have to remember 4 words like all, no or none, some not. In the proportions premises or the statements, they are there are said to be 2 elements. Look at the statements given, and we have also given the values. Look at the statement. Some buildings are glass. Are you able to follow? Yes. Okay, fine. Some buildings are glass. All the glasses are materials. Some buildings are glass. All the glasses are materials. These are the statements. Look at the words highlighted with the different colors. And there are 2 elements given in each of the sentences. In the statements, there are 2 elements. Element 1, building. Element 2, glass. Element 1 is highlighted with red, and the element 2 is highlighted, which is highlighted in blue. Let us consider element 1 and element E1 and E2. And conclusions, no glasses are materials. Some materials are buildings. Based on these small calculations, a simple logic and calculations, look at the table given. All, E1, E2, no, none, some not. The value for the all is 100, 50, and none 100, 100. Some 50, 50, and some not 50 and 100. We can also give some other values. So it should be a equal proportions, like 50, 100, it would be easy for you to count. As we consider, the income should be greater than the expense. And we have to consider this point in order to work out syllogistic statements. I hope I have been clear, and you will understand very easily when you follow this simple logic, simple table to work out the exercises on syllogisms in all the competitive examinations as well as in the placement questions. Some buildings are glass. The term used is some, and we have followed the value. We have given the value for some is 50, 50. Element 1 is 50. Element 2 is also 50. So building 50, glass 50. Then look at the second statement. All the glasses are materials. Glasses are materials. These are the 2 elements. All, value for all, first element 1 is 100. And for all element 2, value for the element 2 is 50. Based on these values, you will have to conclude which of the following statements is the correct statement. Either one or two or both the conclusion are correct. You will have to decide based on the statements, proportions. Conclusion 1, no glasses or materials. Now we have got two elements, glasses and materials. No glasses or materials. Glasses, value for no or none is 100 and 100 equally. So glasses 100, material 100. We have given the value. Let us consider, what is the value given in the statement for glass? All, it is 100. Here in the conclusion also 100 for now. So it is equal. That's okay. But what is the value for all in the statement? Material. All is 50. Whereas in the no or none, it is 100. So it is greater than the income. It is greater than the income. So the in conclusion one does not follow. Have you got it? Yes. So look at the second conclusion. Some materials are buildings. Some materials and buildings. Value for some is 50 and 50. And what is the value given for materials in statements? All 50. In the statement material 50, and in sum we have given the value for 50. So equal, can be equal. Both the income and expense can be equal. Or it should be greater or at least equal. So how about the buildings? What is the value given for building? 50 in the statement. Here sum, it is 50. So conclusion 2 is the right one. That should follow this statement. Some materials are buildings. I hope you are all able to follow this simple method. Now look at this. Another example. Always remember, and you will have to remember this simple table. All, no or none, some not. Okay. So look at the statements. No girl is boy. All boys are red. No girl is boy. All boys are red. And all boys are red. These are the two statements. And look at the conclusion. No girl is red. Some red are boys. A statement which of the following conclusion that should follow after the statements given. No girl is red. Look at this. No, what is the value for no? 100, 100. So girl 100, red 100. Now look at the word girl in the statement. No girl. No girl, no 100 equal. Boy, we have to decide. Okay. Girl is 100. Okay, it is okay. How about red? All boys are red. What is the value given for all? It is 150. Here for the red, no is 100. In the conclusion, for red in the statement, it is only 50. So it does not follow. It can't follow. So conclusion 1 is the wrong option. Okay. And how about the second conclusion? Some red are boys. The value for some is 50, 50. And red and boys, these are the two elements. and we should decide what is the value given for red in the statement. All boys are red in the statement. Red we find in the second statement. All value is 50. Here sum is also 50 equal. Now look at the second element, boys and boys. All is 100 in the statement. For boys, sum is 50. So it is lesser. So expense is lesser than the income. So it is a right option. And option 2 only follows. Okay, I hope I'm clear to everyone. Using this simple method, you will be able to work out the questions on syllogisms. So examples are based on two premise arguments, directions. In each of the questions given below, there are two statements given, which are followed by two conclusions, which are 1 and 2. Even though the statements seem to be different, you have to take them to be true because of the facts, and then decide which of the given conclusions logically follow from the two given statements. Given below are the options for all the questions. Choose your answer from it. Choose option A if only conclusion 1 follows. Option B if only conclusion 2 follows. Option C is for either 1 or 2 follows. Option D, neither of them follows. Neither 1 nor 2 follows. And option E, if both 1 and 2 follow. So option A is for only option 1, option 2, either 1 or 2, neither 1 or 2, or both. Okay. So using this, and you will have to choose the right options. Look at the statements. Some fools are intelligent. Some intelligent is great. Conclusion, some fools are great. All great are intelligent. Some in the statement, two statements follows with the some, and at the conclusion we find the word some and all. So look at the conclusion. Some fools are great. What is the value for some? Yes, 50-50. The value for some is 50-50. And elements given shared, the first conclusion is fools and the great. These are the two elements. For the fools 50 and great also 50. And what is the value given the statement for some fools are intelligent? Fools. It is 50. So equal proportions. How about the great? Some. That's also some. So that is equal proportions. Equally, it is equal both income and expense. So it can be a valid conclusion. How about the second conclusion? All great or intelligent. All. What is the value for all? Great, and in great is the first element 1 in all, which has a value of 100, and intelligent, which has the value of 50. And whereby great in the sum is 50, here it is 100. Here it is 100 in the conclusion. So option 2 is greater. So expense is greater than the income. So option 2 cannot be followed. These are wrong options. Only option 1 follows. So answer is A. Answer is A, and you will have to choose either A, B, C, D, E. And if your answer is, only one option, choose A, and option all typos Okay, so only option 1 follows. Okay, let's continue. Where we are. Look at the statements. All tigers are ships. Some ships are cupboards. Conclusions. Some tigers are cupboards. Some cupboards are tigers. So decide which one of these conclusion should be followed. Either one or two or both. So some tigers, some value is 50, 50. And whereas tigers, where do you find tigers in the statement? All. It is 100. Tigers in the statement it is 100. But in the conclusion it is only 50. So it is lesser only. Expense is lesser than the income. So it is valid. And how about cupboards? Cupboards, sum is 50. There also sum is a 50 equal. So it can be a valid. Conclusion 1 can be a valid conclusion. Can be valid. And some cupboards are tigers. Cupboards 50. There also 50. Tigers 50. There it is. All it is 100. So it is lesser than the income. So income must be greater than the expense. So it is a valid. Both conclusion 1 and 2 follow. So your answer, that should be option. Answer is E. That is, if your answer is both a conclusion follow, both 1 and 2 follows, and you are choose E. And look at the statements for the next question. All books are papers, all pencils are pens. Conclusions, some pens are books, no pen is a book. And what is the value for some pins and the books? 50-50. And the pins, where do you find the pins? In the second statement too. All pins are pins. All it is 50. Some pins it's 50. So equal proportion. How about the books? In the conclusion 50 and all it is conclusion 100. In the statement 100, so it is a valid. It is lesser, so it is a valid conclusion only. And no, what? How about the second conclusion? No pin is a book. Pin and the book. What is the value for a pin is given? And all it is 50 for the second element 2 pin, and in the conclusion no, it is 100. In the statement it is 50, it is 100. So option 2 is greater, then so expense is greater than the income, so it can't be followed. It is a wrong conclusion. So only conclusion 1 follows, and your answer is A. If only option A, option 1 follows. Conclusion 1 is a valid one. Okay? Yes. And likewise, you will have to work out all these exercises based on the simple method, income expense method. And I hope you understand this concept of working out the examples on conditional syllogisms and what is syllogism and what type of questions can be, how syllogistic statements can be solved, how to arrive at a conclusion on conditional syllogisms. Okay, and with this, and I hope you can understand well, and you can work out the rest of the exercises given. I shall meet you in one another sessions with other topic. Thank you all. I hope you have understood. Got it? I hope everyone enjoyed and it was much useful for you all. Thank you.